Hello, this is Pam, and welcome to the reading of the Times Reporter newspaper for this Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. We begin today's reading with the area deaths. Opal J. Brown, 74, of Denison, passed away unexpectedly Monday, April 20, 2022, in community hospice, Truman House at New Philadelphia. In keeping with her wishes, a private family visitation will be held in the Lynn Hurt Geib Funeral Home at New Philadelphia. Neva Jerry Clendenning, 85, of New Philadelphia, passed away Monday, April 20, 2020, in her daughter's home at Carrollton, following a period of declining health. Friends are invited to show their love and support to Jerry's family on Friday, April 24th, 2020, from 2 to 4 p.m. at Geib Funeral Center at Dover. Friends can pay their respects as they remain in their car and drive past the visitation window under the funeral home's canopy. A memorial service celebrating Jerry's life will be held at a later date. Patricia Hornberger passed away at the age of 90 on April 19th. A private service will be held for Patricia at the Canal Fulton Cemetery. Eleanor Kenny, 96, of Cadiz, died peacefully Monday, April 20th at her home. Due to the COVID-19 virus, a private service will be held. The family is being assisted by Clark Kirkland Funeral Home. Tammy L. Mason, 50, of Strasburg, passed away from complications related to a suspected blood clot. Private family services will be held. The Toland Herzig Funeral Home and Crematory at Strasburg is handling arrangements. Catherine Rieger, 99, of Park Village Healthcare Center, Dover, and a former resident of New Philadelphia, passed away Tuesday, April 21st. A private graveside service will be held. Lucille Ann Mast Steele, 85, of Granville, Ohio, formerly of Dover, Ohio, entered into the presence of her Lord and Savior on April 18th. Due to the circumstances, a private family service will be held at Union Hill Cemetery in Sugar Creek. A public memorial service will be held at a later date. Well, this concludes the area death notices from the Times Reporter for Wednesday, April 21st. Let's look at our first article. Indian Valley Lunch Program Eases Burden by Terry Stein. Like other schools in the area, the Indian Valley School Remote Lunch Program is easing the burden of the pandemic for children and their parents in this school district. All 4 of the district's schools at Janaden-Hutton, Port Washington, Tuscarawas, and Midvale are packing lunches. The same number of employees are working, but reduced hours. They come in and pack the lunches, and when they're done, they go. We are only working the essential hours, Indian Valley Superintendent Ira Wentworth said. Early on, there was a question that came up on a couple different fronts. That was typically, we don't qualify for a free or reduced lunch. Is this for us? It's for any child 18 and younger. You don't even have to be in school. You just have to live in the district. It's free for everyone. Buses with 2 or 3 employees helping on each bus are transporting the lunches to central locations in neighborhoods where families can pick them up, or are providing home delivery for those living in more rural locations. Even if the parents are working as an essential employee themselves, it helps them that they don't have to worry about what their kids will eat, Wentworth said. Parents working from home appreciate the meals for their children too, as they navigate around their online work, business calls, virtual meetings, and helping their children with schoolwork. The district tracks the number of remote lunches daily. We always make a little extra to make sure we can serve everybody, but right now we are around 600 kids a day, Wentworth said. Recently, breakfast food for the next day has been included with each lunch. It's a grain-based item. It could be a bowl of cereal or a granola bar or a Pop-Tart. It just depends on the day. They also get fruit and milk. Brian Didfield, Director of Technology and Classified Operations, said, transitioning from serving a hot lunch to a remote cold lunch took some planning and change to the way things are normally done. If we serve the food in the cafeteria, there would be a warm entree of some sort as a main option. So that is really where the difference is, Ditfield said. Having a fresh fruit, vegetable, and milk is all on the standard tray. Deli meat sandwiches or prepackaged sandwiches are now the go-to item for the main course in the remote lunch. These items also were available to students at school if they did not like the warm entree being served. Food ordering for the remote lunches changed for the district too. It's not just us. It's every school everywhere is trying to get these items. We have had to change our ordering a little bit to get the items we're needing, Ditfeld said, explaining that because so many schools were after the same food items, there were shortages, and the district looked to some other vendors to fill the need. One was a relatively new business within the district, the Tusky Deli, located on Main Street in Tuscarawas. Ditfeld contacted them for help in getting lunch meat, and they came through. A shout out to them because they really saved us, Wentworth said. The district is grateful for the feedback they've received on the program. When we started this, we weren't sure what it was going to be like. It's been amazing how everyone has embraced it, Ditfeld said. With everyone's schedule more hectic and a little bit out of kilter, it just helps them on the home front because they don't have to worry about prepping lunch for their kids, Wentworth said. Plans are still in the works for the summer lunch program the district has operated for the past 2 years. As of right now, the remote lunch program, at the scale that we're doing it, will likely end at the end of the school year, Ditfeld said. The summer program is based on demand. What it will look like this summer will be decided as they get closer to the season. In other aspects of school during a pandemic, the online learning is going well. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from families and from teachers both, Wentworth said. We went into it with the idea that it may not be perfect, but we will make it the best that we can. Of course, learning in the classroom is preferred. There is a social aspect to learning. Learning is more than the teacher giving information and the student receiving it, Wentworth said. You have to be able to interact with that content. And a lot of those interactions the teacher designs so the students process the content between themselves. With remote learning, students lose that important aspect of where you can turn to your neighbor and talk about it or work out a problem with a partner. Wentworth said, "We will keep the ball rolling in a way to minimize losses because learning is not the same remotely as it is inside the four walls of the classroom." Wentworth is sad for the students who are missing out on events at school, some that can never be made up. With graduation set for May 31, the school is committed to honoring the graduates in some way. We have to start ironing out some plans in case we can't go traditional, Wentworth said. I would lean towards something creative on May 31 as opposed to a delay, but we have to get our team together and make that decision. Wentworth misses the students and says he is looking forward to the day when the school can reopen its doors. It's not the same without them, he said. Local 4-H club performs community projects. The Thunder Valley Pioneers 4-H Club offered the opportunity to their members to complete community service activities on their own during the stay-at-home order. Members came up with their own activities and got to work. The different activities completed included making cards and pictures for nursing home patients, making homemade soap and cards to deliver to their bank tellers, picking up cans and trash on the roads near their homes, helping an elderly neighbor clean up outside after recent storms and flooding, and washing the fire trucks and cleaning the station for Delaware Valley Fire Station. Next topic, Baltic Trap Shoot canceled. The Baltic Conservative Club has canceled its spring trap shoot on Saturday, April 4. There is no makeup date. The club will still have the raffle drawing at their next meeting on April 21. Contact Matt Yoder, club secretary, at 330-827-0390 for further information. The Baltic Conservation Club is a hunting, fishing, and shooting club consisting of 80 acres located between Baltic and Bakersfield. Bolivar to waive late fees on water bills by Lori Feeney. Administrative Officer Maria App recommended waiving late fees on water bills for residents in light of the pandemic and its effect on household cash flows. Residents who need help with their water bills should contact App at Town Hall to set up a payment plan before the next bill comes out in June. Mayor Rebecca Hubble announced she has someone investigating why the village did not receive notification of a tornado warning. She received a letter from Lawrence Township trustee Matt Ritterbeck that yard waste from the recent storm can go to the Bull Country composting site at no cost. Hubble was notified by the Kimball Company emergency measures are being put in place because people are doing a lot of cleaning out closets and throwing things out as they're confined to the home, creating more waste. They will not require all waste to fit inside the Kimball-provided trash can. No extra bags or boxes will be allowed to remain outside the container. Yard waste will not be picked up. A full list of the new requirements can be found at www.kimballcompanies.com. The June Strawberry Festival has been canceled. The village is still planning to hold the car show on the third weekend in July and have the Lions Club chicken barbecue and set up a beer tent if possible. Hubbell participates in the Ohio Mayor's Conference call every Wednesday. In the most recent call, a recommendation was made to establish a first executive order to declare a state of emergency in the village of Bolivar in order to tap into emergency funding. Finance. App reported the village received $1,000 from a PEP grant to purchase a crosswalk sign. 9 fire extinguishers on a PEP recommendation were purchased at a cost of $708. App is looking into using direct deposit for village payroll. She anticipates a potential shift in income tax and gas tax revenue due to the pandemic. In light of this, App recommended the village hold off on hiring more seasonal help and instead increase hours for their part-time employees. Council voted to advertise for bids for the water meter installation project. Topic: Safety Committee. Police Chief Randy Haw received a letter of resignation from Officer Lawrence Manns. He is aggressively looking to hire a replacement. Council voted to accept the resignation. Dashboard cameras approved at the March meeting were installed on April 14. The police SUV was in for service with Mark Gowdy in March. Police received 50 calls. In April, call volume is up and included a call on April 12 to disperse a large gathering of people at the Bell store. New topic: streets and alleys. They are looking at purchasing a new tornado siren. Funds are available through FEMA and the National Weather Service and can be applied for in December. Street Superintendent Dave Franks reported they are picking up brush and debris left over from the storm as long as residents are piling it at the curb. Franks also reported the sign company will replace the sign for Poplar Street to correct a misspelling. Topic: Shade Tree. Hubbell reported Bolivar has again been named a Tree City USA for 2020. Topic: Administration Officer. App reported the property on North Canal Street has been cleaned up. The process of seeking IT quotes has been put on hold. There was a recommendation to take inventory of all safety equipment and PPE supplies and supply each department with an updated list. Deferred to Water Committee and Council, they approved an expenditure of up to $5,659 for a portable valve exerciser, which is needed to meet EOA regulations. Landscaping stone approved during the March meeting is being ordered. There was a recommendation to take inventory of safety supplies and equipment, such as a generator, safety equipment, PPE sanitizer. There was a recommendation to take inventory of safety supplies and equipment, such as a generator, safety equipment, PPE, sanitizers, and more. There also was a recommendation that each department have an updated emergencies supply list establishing sanitizing procedures. Public entities pool reps were in last month and made several recommendations regarding security enhancements, including the need to add a minimum fine placard on the handicap parking sign in front of Town Hall. There also was a recommendation to add a section of safety tips to the village website to make the public aware of current scams taking place during the pandemic. Next topic: legislative action. Ordinance 12/2020 to amend records retention policy was approved on its third reading. Ordinance 13/2020 was approved to adopt the new investment policy for the village on its third reading. Ordinance 14/2020 to approve the fire contact retroactive to January 1, 2020 was passed as an emergency order. An ordinance to add section 12.3.1 to the Policies and Procedures Manual, adding a cafeteria plan for village employees to assist with health insurance premiums, was passed as an emergency order. Ordinance 16/2020, approved as an emergency measure, the One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding, which establishes a settlement the village can opt into to receive funds related to the opioid crisis. There was a second reading of ordinance to update policies and procedures by adding article concealed carry weapons and village shared insurance cost. The legislation was already passed, but the language needed to be added to the policies and procedures. There was a first reading of ordinance to edit Article 4 regarding a time clock, Article 10 regarding paid time off, Article 11 on compensatory time, Article 14 regarding employee retirement, and Article 19 on alcohol and drug policy. Hubble wished Arloise Howenstein a happy 102nd birthday. She is the oldest resident in Bolivar. Regularly scheduled committee meetings for street and alley, recreation, and water will begin at 5:30 on April 20, followed by a special finance work session at 7 p.m. The purpose of the work session is to discuss and review caps and minimums, wages, and the risk management study. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, these meetings will take place via remote teleconference using the GoToMeeting program. Those interested in observing should email the Village Fiscal Office at treasurer@villageofbolivar.com or send a text to 330-663-3373 requesting access information. The next council meeting will be Monday, May 4 at 7 p.m. Next article, Tusky Valley accepting open enrollment students. The Tuscarawas Valley Local School Districts is offering inter-district open enrollment with school systems throughout Ohio. Applications will not be accepted until after April 21 unless the student is currently enrolled in the district. New students residing out of the district who wish to enter Tuscarawas Valley Local Schools for the 2020-21 school year must complete the open enrollment application process through the district's website at www.tvtrojans.org by navigating to the Parents and Community drop-down and selecting the OneView Parent Portal link where new open enrollment applications can be made. Applications will be accepted on a first-come, first-served basis, and parents must have a contingency plan in place in the event Tuscarawas Valley's enrollment is too high for the student to be accepted. Current Tusky Valley students who do not reside in the district should apply through their existing OneView Parent Portal account. Students must reapply for open enrollment every school year. For questions or assistance with the open enrollment process, call 330-859-8830. Next article, the State Route 39 Bridge Project has been postponed. The State Route 39 Bridge Repair Project has been postponed. A future start date will be shared when it is available. For information, go to ohgo.com. Next article, Elks Lodge members donate to food pantry. Elks Lodge members Chris and Nicole Busby recently donated $2,000 to the Twin City Christian Service Center food pantry. The money was made available through the Elks National Foundation grant. For more information, go to elks.org/WHO. Our next article is titled, Ohio Voters Not Mailing It In. Turnout Looks Paltry for Coronavirus Primary by Daryl Rowland, the Columbus Dispatch. 3 out of every 4 registered Ohio voters have not even asked for a primary election ballot yet in this weird coronavirus year, according to news figures released Tuesday by the Secretary of State's office. About 1.67 million Ohioans had asked for an absentee ballot as of the end of last week, out of 7.77 million who are registered. That's a little over 21% for an almost exclusive mail ballot vote that concludes in a week. About 44% of Ohio voters cast a ballot in the 2016 presidential primary. The low among recent Ohio presidential primaries is just shy of 26% in 2012. At this point, it's an open question on how many voters will be able to take part in the delayed Ohio primary with less than a week remaining before the deadline. It's a multi-day process to send in an application for an absentee ballot. Wait for the ballot to come back in the mail, and then mail the completed ballot back with a postmark no later than Monday. The completed ballots also can be dropped off at county election boards Tuesday, where limited in-person voting will be allowed for the homeless and the disabled. The biggest uncertainty may revolve around voter interest in an unprecedented election during a pandemic, using a voting method many Ohioans have never tried before and at a time when the presidential primaries are already determined. This election is about a lot more than a presidential primary, Secretary of State Frank LaRose said. It's about the levies and the local issues that are being decided in communities all around Ohio, and leaders who are competing to be your councilwomen or legislative representatives. Statewide, about 866,000 Democrats have requested absentee ballots, compared to 705,000 who want a GOP ballot. About 93,000 have sought an issues-only ballot. In Franklin County, about 136,000 absentee ballots had been processed through Monday, representing 16% of the area's 851,000 registered voters. In 2016, 38.5%, or 328,379 of the country's voters cast a ballot in a primary that featured Governor John Kasich against future President Donald Trump. Comparing this cycle to what happened in 2016 is tough because we've had to administer them quite differently, said Aaron Sellers, spokesman for the County Election Board. The COVID-19 pandemic caused the postponement of the March 17th election hours before the election was to occur, and will conclude with an all-mail-in ballot next Tuesday. This is unprecedented. As they did before the originally scheduled March 17 primary this year, Democrats continued to dominate the early voting turnout as previously unaffiliated county residents choose a party in a presidential election year. While Republicans have gained about 40% more voters, Democrats have more than doubled, increasing about 102%. What that translates to, in a county already dominated by Democrats, 9,400 GOP voters added in the primary period, but more than 58,000 additional Democrats. Some number crunchers had speculated the greater increase in Democratic voters stemmed from a contested presidential primary, while Trump is unopposed. However, the disparity has remained as the Democratic field has settled behind former Vice President Joe Biden. Well, my friends, this concludes the reading of the Wednesday, April 22nd Times Reporter newspaper. This is PM, and I want to thank you for listening. Please stay safe, be blessed, and make it a great day.